All right, happy Thanksgiving week, guys. First, Clint, what's on the dinner plate Thursday?
Oh, Thursday's huge pile of dark meat turkey, all the roasted veggies. You know what I mean? I'll stay away from the potatoes and stuff like that. So probably,
Oven roasted, smoked turkey. How you guys making it?
you know what? I'm not sure how it's gonna be. I'm just gonna go eat it. So we're going to my mom's, and so
Okay,
I'm just eating it.
cool,
Yeah.
awesome. How about you, Brock?
Wait, is this on the record or off the record? I'm just kidding. It's loaded up on mostly protein and veggies for sure. My favorite day of the year. I literally you eat, you sleep, you football. You eat, you sleep, you football. You just keep doing it all day long. It's my favorite day.
So,
Yeah.
what? No, you don't know what are you not in charge of the menu? Are you going somewhere where?
I'm going to my cousin's house family. They don't even let me bring the dinner rolls. They just show up. We can't
Oh,
even trust
yeah.
you at anything. So just come
Nice.
on.
The surprise protein.
Yep.
Yeah. What's on
It's
your?
turkey for sure, but
We've
Yeah.
got our big family Thanksgiving on Saturday, but Thursday it's just my wife and daughter and I, and I've got two tomahawk ribeyes that'll be
Oh.
going on the newly. I got a new egg, a new Kamado Joe. First, we're gonna christen
ooh,
it, and but these things are like that thick, 2.5 pounders,
Wow.
half pounders.
and
We
literally
just.
all we're having is that, and I think sweet potatoes on Thanksgiving. It's like
Tomahawk and a side of chicken breast.
it's, it's like shout out to Sean Dunn,
Yeah.
protein with a side of protein.
Legend.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's talk. It's holiday season. It's officially this week. It kicks off. We've got today, as we record this, is the 25th. So we got about, call it 5 weeks of what would traditionally be called Temptation Alley, Landmine City, obstacle. It's an obstacle course for guys to get through. People talk about surviving the holidays. All these sort of default language patterns about it's gonna suck. It's gonna be great, but it's gonna suck from a health diet standpoint. And in our Monday RAD meeting, recurring accountability drivers is what RAD stands for. We talked about what needs to be true to finish December better, and you can define better in a number of ways than when you started. And so I want to talk about like holiday survival, not just survival. Let's talk about thriving, not surviving. Let's talk about thriving. So one of the exercises we did, and Clint, you know these things from a couple years ago. We did the brainstorm and the shitstorm.
Mhm.
So brainstorm everything that's going to go right for the next 5 weeks. So your workouts, how are you going to eat, how are you going to sleep, how are you going to move, how are you going to drink. That's easy. That's the approach stuff. The shitstorm side is what's going to go wrong. You know, the family, Brock, you're going to a place where you don't control anything that's on the menu. It could go horribly wrong if you wanted it to, just as one example.
It won't though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I know you're ready. You're armed with intention and a plan. But so that's one strategy where we talked about brainstorm everything that can go right, but then shitstorm everything that's not going to go right. And then you can look at those two, and now the odds are you're going to actually probably lean towards doing things with intention. So when you write down all the things that can go wrong, you're looking at this stuff and it's like I think you're less likely to do those things. So three pieces of pumpkin pie with extra ice cream, no movement on Thanksgiving, 6 hours of football,
Start with a Bloody Mary.
start with a Bloody Mary, 10 a.m. Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, so before we go on to some other ideas, what are you guys like? What are some things you'd put in each column for guys to like process through on the on the debit side and the credit side?
I guess before anything, it's literally having the columns, writing it down, not just having it in your head. Because if it's like I know what I got to do. I just got to stick to my guns and do what I normally do. I mean, you're winging it, and then when I wing it, I'm the life of the party,
Mhm.
and that's a fun place to be back in the day, but not anymore when you continue living that out. So like if you don't go in with a plan, there's no way you're going to prepare like that, and there's zero chance you're going to execute, and so like that's going back a little bit more, but coming into like looking into the specific categories, doing what you always do, like starting off I'm gonna have a morning routine that day. I'm gonna plan out in each one of those categories. I mean, I get I think like at least half to 60% of my water in the first few hours of the day. I'm
Mhm.
still going to do that, so it's like my hydration's locked in. I'm going to do a movement before I go to be about some body weight movement at the house. I have the kids here, so I won't be able to do any of that stuff, or going to a gym or anything like that because we're going pretty early. I know that I have my nutrition locked in. I know largely what's going to be there, right? And then the sleep part of it, we got nothing on Wednesday night. Should be good to go. Nice early night on Thursday. So
Yeah, good. So have a plan, set an intention, and even if you deviate, having a plan is you're gonna navigate way better than without a plan.
well, the piece of doubling down on the plan is just really preparing. Like prepare those scenarios. Like the two buckets that you're talking about. Like if you don't prepare those, the less you're less likely to execute on them.
Yep. Yep. How about you, Clint?
Yeah, I've got to agree wholeheartedly with Brock. And this question is kind of it's interesting because I don't know that I can equate to it. Like this is my third year in a row, and I don't remember who came up with it originally, but we did this about 3 years ago or so, and your intentions for the holidays, and I think maybe Larry brought it up. I don't remember, but this is my third year in a row with no sugar from like Halloween on through my birthday's in November, and then through Thanksgiving. So I've already got my intention and my plan. And I think if I, but then I'm trying to go back. Like if I do have an intention, sometimes, and I haven't done this in a while, if I do have an intention to eat dessert or whatever, then I'm going to eat all I want. I've told you guys that before, and it embarrasses my wife and that type of thing. So, um, it's just my intention to just go in and eat as much as I want. So I will eat a lot, and I'll probably moan and have a stomach ache, but it's all going to be the cleanest food there. There's really no different. There's only I can when I think of the holidays and this time of year, I mean, I know people go to parties and this and that, but there's only three or four, maybe five times that you can really screw up, right? So if you just have your intention going in there, the holidays aren't 3 months of 90 days, it's a few parties and those specific days. So set your intention on those days and live it out. I don't find it difficult. So that's just kind of where I'm at.
So I love that insight. Like if you boil it down over the next 35 days, so 5 weeks, if you say Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and New Year's Eve, and then a office party and a neighborhood party, maybe. So that's what, six things.
Yeah.
6 days out of 35. And let's just say you shit the bed on 6 days and you live awesome to your standards on 29. That's not a bad outcome. That's actually pretty solid. So
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting way to put it in perspective. So then the reality is it only 6 days? What's the spillover part?
Yeah, I guess we think of like Christmas baking and cookies around the house all the time and things like that.
Mhm.
Like Brock said, you've got to set your intention. I have it. I'm lucky. That stuff's not around my house. My wife's on board with everything. In fact, I'm chasing her on that. So it may be easier for me, but
You
you know,
said something offline here, Clint, that I really liked of, you know, be different, stand out, be a
Mhm.
leader, and do something that everybody else is not doing. You're going to go to places, all of us do. You don't get to choose your family, right? You're born into it. So you don't know what you're walking into, opposed to other groups or communities you guys might be involved with. But they see you living differently outside of here. You come here, it's like, holy cow, Clint. I mean, you look incredible. Like you're bouncing around with this energy, this zest. What do you do? And then you just go and blow it and do like everything what everybody else is doing. Or maybe you stand out a little bit.
yeah.
Maybe you're not indulging like the way that other people do. And I mean that's leading from the front. That's being a leader worth following right there.
I think you can do it quietly too. You don't have to announce it to everybody.
No,
What you put on your
absolutely
plate
not.
is yours. Everybody else is drinking. You decide not to drink. I mean, you can do it quietly, and guaranteed somebody will want to know what you're doing
Mhm.
everywhere. Every time somebody wants to know off to the side when they get you, hey, what are you doing? I want to do that. But there's that opportunity for all of us. So
Well, this will be the third year in a row. I'm going to there's going to be drinks. There's going to be alcohol around. I already know that I will have zero. alcohol for the third year in a row, and they're they're all gonna be, come on, let's do this that year, take, and then they end up having two or three, and then they stop bugging you. It's just like, I'm fine, like I don't need to. And sometimes they'll even bring some non-alcoholic beers over there or whatnot, but it's easy. You don't need to announce it.
You're right.
Hey, one of the things too, just thinking about the holidays and hearing you guys talk about these things, if we zoom out and just say, let's just pick any date out of the year, the next 35 days, they would just be the next 35 days, right? So how you frame these next 35 days, if you frame it in the, oh, it's going to be hard, it's the
Yeah.
holidays. And, I mean, you've already kind of, it's like if we were playing football, you've sacked yourself. You've already taken a 20-yard loss. So frame it as a just 35 days. I'm going to crush it. I'm going to end December better than when I started it. Frame it that way. Now you got a 20-yard gain. And that's how
Yeah.
you'll end the year. So I think framing it, not falling into this trap. Sean Dunn, one of our guys, said the other day, like he said, we were talking about this, and he said, yeah, it's like when they say it's flu season. Now we've got it in our head. Well, the flu happens year round. It might be there's more
Yeah.
instances. And he's like, you know what? I'm opting out of that. I don't recognize flu season. It's like,
Yeah. I'm
there's,
not partaking.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
It's just you frame it differently. You're just like, not here.
yeah. And one of the things we were saying offline a little bit, and I'm gonna mention it here. Oh, it was worth it. Oh, but I got to enjoy my family. That's BS. That's an excuse. You know what? You can still be you, do what you're doing and enjoy all that. So don't use that as an excuse.
Right.
It's not worth it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like, well, let's use alcohol for example then. So like Brock, if Brock is not drinking, then Brock's not enjoying his family
Yeah.
because you're not drinking, according to
Yeah.
line of thinking. And or you
Right.
can't be grateful because you're not hoisting a glass of Mogan David wine. It was my dad used to always have around the house.
Morgan David.
Cheap communion wine. Well, I think that's like that. That's so true. Is redefining what fun is. If that's what fun is to you, how might we redefine what fun is and gratitude and thankfulness? And so, it's funny how you start challenging guys on some of these things to think a little bit differently. It starts exposing sort of these deeper things of what they're clinging to. These are just identities that are really embedded, and it's that's part of what we do in Argent Alpha is like shifting your identity to your future self, which may include less of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Offending somebody because they want you to eat something that, resembles a giant pile of dog crap or drink something.
Yeah.
That's my analogy. But like, are you going to be offended if I don't eat this? I'm sorry, so
Yep, exactly. So just like
Yeah.
standards shouldn't change based on the zip code, why would the calendar date or the date change how you live your life? So
Yeah.
Totally. Something you could do different this next 35 days, as you put it. Write down the things you're struggling with, or the things that that you need to overcome. Whether you do it. I mean, you could sure take a stab at it this year, and probably if you plan it out and prep and then execute, you definitely can. But those are some things, maybe some heavier things that you could work on, for the next year. So the following holiday season isn't the same as this one. And one other thing, when you said, these 35 days, like take all three of us, for example. We all, like, you could take this 35 days, you could take any 35-day chunk throughout the year, and guess what? We're starting it the same way that we did every other day,
Mhm.
right? You're having a plan, and you're prepping on how you're going to execute. Like that is, I mean, that comes across in almost every single one of these podcasts we do, is your morning routine and preparing, and planning and organizing your day. Why should that look any differently? No, if you're staying under a different roof or at someone else's house or whatever, it's just like you still do the same thing.
yep.
Well,
Yeah, that's that. So Brock, right on that point, don't even think about the next 35 days. Think about today. Just go
Yeah.
win today, win the morning, win the day. Sorry, Clint, go ahead.
I was going to say it came back to me. It was celebrate healthy. That's what we did like 3 years ago, and I think Larry came up with that. If again, I'll tag him, but it was celebrate healthy. That what we did. Now I'm as I'm thinking this through, I may come out the end of the year 5 pounds heavier because there's no doubt I'm going to enjoy the party and my family by eating as much as I want. It's just what's on my plate is going to be the choices that I make. So. is that gonna put me behind for 26 or ending the year good? I don't think so because I still made clean choices. That's my take on it, So
Yeah, I think that's why when I phrase it like, how do you end the year better than end December better than you started it? It's intentionally worded subjectively. I think the key thing is, are you proud of the month you had?
yeah,
And so you get to define what that is. I mean, that could be body composition. It could be zero drinks, or if you normally would have drank 31 drinks over the next 31 days, one a day, and you did 15, that's a win. Uh,
yeah.
so you get to define it, but the average American comes out on the other side of the holidays. What's the stats you guys seen? Anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds heavier,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and not
Yeah.
from intention. Those aren't muscle pounds.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not 10 pounds of skeletal muscle mass they added in December.
Yeah.
No, no. Before I started paying attention to this stuff, like when I went on vacation, this was in my 20s, mind you, too. In a week, I could put on 10 pounds and that was no problem, So to have a whole month of that, you could add a whole bunch more than that. I mean,
Yeah.
I was measuring nothing. I was thinking about nothing except for the food and drink in front of me and just
Yeah.
going crazy, like, I don't think that's what any of us are doing here. To go zoom back out, Jake, to how you started this is like, how are you going to come out of December better than when you started it? Like I think that is like you take that goal and like a bunch of my clients I work with have heard me say this yesterday in my calls with them is just like framing up that exact like how would you deem December a success? Like what would you need to see? Okay, well now you have your target. How are you going to do that? Break it down for this upcoming week. Break it down. Okay, how do I do that this day, living out those standards? Like those are ways that you could really not get to the end of the month and be like, well, I don't know what the heck happened. Completely lost track of, well, no, if you bring it down like that, if you're serious about it, if you want to do it, you can.
Hmm. Hey, this reminded me too. This is going on 3 years ago, when our friend Joe Schmidt joined, and I remember asking him. I think he joined like in sometime in the fall, maybe late November of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I don't know if we asked him or somebody asked him, why would you start this now, Joe? And he said, I decided I'd rather end the year 5 pounds lighter than 5 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
And I thought it was such a that was the opposite of what the average American would say. And it was just, it was a pro level mindset move by Joe Schmidt.
He's a wordsmith, but he did follow it up too. That
Yeah.
was he
Yeah.
puts his money where his mouth is, and he's doing that same thing. He's got really high intentions around this time of the season, and I've spoke to him recently about what that is looking like this year. But I still remember when he first came in. I didn't know who he was. He's got this boot on because he just had ankle reconstruction, or like he had some ankle deal, and he looked like a frumpy grandpa. And then to be able to watch him like completely change how he looks, everybody on all the episodes of him talking through what Argent Alpha is and his transformation, his reinvention, as he called it as well, is just like, you're like, dude, you look strong. You watch him with energy come flying in the door. Like I went and watched him speak on stage. He sprints out there to talk to 600 people. I mean, it's just like he brings this energy. And that first time that I saw him, he was like slumped over on the bench, tying up one shoe because he couldn't even put a shoe on the other foot. I don't think it was, it's way different.
Yeah. That was
Hey,
his approach to the holidays was great.
Yeah.
that was such a great point you said, Brock, and we talked about this last week at some point and I think a question was, what three things would it take to make you know, your best day? What three things are necessary? But what things would be necessary to define success in December? What things need to happen? That's such a great way to look at it to define, hey, what I'm going to do. We talked about going in with an intention, and things like that. But when you define it and write it down, well, hey, what does success in December look like? Yeah, just time 10x, So
Hey, let's give the people listening a couple tools. Here's one I like. On Thanksgiving Day or any day you're going to have a potential food alcohol challenge. What's your buy-in? Have a buy-in.
yeah,
So ours is now for probably the last 12 years is we move Thanksgiving morning. It could be a class, it might have been a class at Alchemy. It might have been a turkey trot. It might have been hiking, camelback. This year it's going to be we all have weight vests, so it's only three of us on the actual Thanksgiving day. So we're going to be doing a ruck, and so do a buy-in. I don't know if you guys have any sort of family tradition or things you do, whether you call it a buy-in or not. But I found that's a great way to that sets the stage that spills over into the rest of the day. It's a positive way to start the day.
It's a pre-turkey worky.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect. Yeah, we don't really have anything set, but there's no doubt we'll do something. We've already talked about, at least doing a walk on the beach or something. So there will be buy-in with some rucking and things like that. So,
Well, for you,
how many burpees do you want to do, Clint? I'll do them with you.
yeah, okay. I'll call you on Thursday morning.
So yeah, Thanksgiving is just another Thursday for the Murrays.
Yeah, we're just gonna do something, sandbag workout or something.
Yep. Another tool you can use is starting today, measure something. Just pick one thing to measure. Measure your steps, measure your hydration, measure burpees, measure drinks avoided. Whatever is meaningful for you, just pick one thing and measure it, and you'll be surprised how that can have another huge spillover effect when you start measuring just one thing. Because
For sure.
most people are not measuring things in their personal life. They may measure business stuff, sales calls, appointments, deals closed, kids dropped off at school 5 days, whatever their thing is, they'll measure it because they'll have an answer when you ask them. But this stuff, people typically don't measure one thing.
Something that a frame that all three of us use is whatever that goal is for the month. Maybe it's like, hey, I want to come out 5 pounds less than 5 pounds more. Okay, well, the frame that we always talk about in here, and you guys have probably heard this on the podcast before, is what needs to be true. What needs to be true in order for me to lose 5 pounds? Well, I need to lose about a pound a week. Okay, well, what needs to be true to lose a pound a week? Well, I got to know what I'm putting in my body, and I got to get a workout, and I got to get some good rest and recovery, and I probably better start my day with some intention. Like you could ask that question in any goal that you have, and you have your bullet points on how you need to execute then. And then from there, if some of them are bigger, higher level things, you drill them down again, drill them down into the week, into the day. That is such a great, I don't know if you need any other framework to be able to execute against a goal.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
So here's another tool guys can use, and we use this in our rad meeting on Monday. ABCD. A is ambitious, B is baseline, C is conservative, D is did not do, drift, or default. You get to pick your D. So just pick a day. Like if A is an ambitious day, like workout, ate clean, sleep routine, you just crush everything. And B is like a little bit lower version of that, and C is your minimum, it's your floor. You take that approach, you're gonna win December. You'll finish December better than when you started. So we call the C level something's greater than nothing, or the floor, or your daily. It's the non-negotiable floor. So think about that. And again, you can reframe these. Like again, a lot of guys struggle with alcohol, not like they're an alcoholic. It's just alcohol is a part of their daily life in business and such. So if a C day is like I'm gonna have one drink. That's like if you got a drink, make it one drink. A day is zero alcohol, and maybe it's you're crushing everything else. But think about this sort of give yourself multiple ways to win. And the D is did not do. There's 3 ways to win, A, B, C, and only one way to lose, and that's a choice. You have to choose. You have to intentionally choose D. If you think of it that way, you're gonna win way more than you're gonna lose.
That sounds like you got about 75% chance of being consistent to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was thinking about this way too. If you have the ABC method, you can't fail. Like you're setting yourself up for success. And if you don't quit, you can't fail. Something we talked about yesterday at yesterday's rad meeting as well is like some guys weren't hitting their protein each day, but zoom out, look at the end of the week. Okay, was there one day that you only got your C's, but the rest of the week you got your A's? You're still winning. Like you have to zoom out and just keep stacking wins.
Yep.
Yeah.
So another go ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say there's one more thing on the ABCD is, if we talk about workout and nutrition, but maybe it's something else, maybe it's under sleep or mindset category. And as you're setting these, set your C is like, Jake, you brought this up a couple weeks ago, I think it was Daniel Pink quote, is like, what is the least you can do? Whatever the least you can do, that's your floor. That's your C. You know, what's the least you could do plus a little bit more? That'd be your B. And what would be like knocking it out of the park? You know, that would be your A level. You know, so don't go below the least of what you could do. You said this was the least you could do. There should be no D's coming.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly. And what I love about that is, I mean, let's face it, you have days where you go, I'm not feeling the A day, but like Clint said, well, what's the least you could do? Well, I could do one push up. Some days that's a win. You know, it's like it's a point on the board. And who does, let's face it, who does one push up?
You're not going down to the ground to do one push up, most likely. You know, it's like, okay, I already did. Okay, I might as well knock out a few more.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, another tool I think that I found personally really valuable is the substitute, don't subtract. So when I say subtract, a lot of guys think of they call it dieting. And it's depriving themselves of something. Substitute it. So you're going to get this big ass dinner tray on Thanksgiving Day, and rather than load it up with everything in front of you, first stop is the protein station. So typically turkey. Make turkey at least 50% of that plate, at least. And then whatever else fits on the plate, just put it around there. And that approach, you're probably going to win,
Mhm.
right? I mean, you're going to crowd out the space for all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that protein should be at least the size of your fist stacked twice. So like it's going to be like that or like this. It's that's probably going to be about 8 ounces of protein. And chances are with turkey, and I'm not opposed to gravy. Turkey needs, let's face it, turkey sucks without gravy, right? I mean, dry meat.
Tell us how you feel.
So put a little gravy on there. That's fine. A little stuffing. But the key thing is there is a little bit. So you're just substituting a little more protein, and you're not really subtracting anything at all. You're just making a substitute, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll still get filled up. You're gonna have a good time. You're not gonna look weird. I mean, Clint, I know you've talked about certain parties. You've showed up with your own cooler. Like that's the ultimate not giving a rat's ass what other people think. Show up with
Yeah.
your own food. That's probably a pro level mood. That's most people aren't going to do that on Thanksgiving. So go in there ready to make
Yeah.
make the best choices you can. And how you allocate your plate is definitely a technique that
Yeah.
works.
Even
Another
if
thing
you
I
come
was
in with
thinking,
your own cooler, you might as well come in with your Zubas and your bandana on because you're going to stand out. No.
yeah. And another thing, I mean, there's no way we have to not hit we're not going to fail on all of our standards. I mean, even if we fail on one particular day, you're still going to hit your other four, or make sure you do hit your other four, or or put in your best effort. So there's no failing all the way around.
Yeah, you're putting some wins on the board.
Yeah.
I think to wrap it up, I'd say back to the what's the least you can do. Get out your pen. You can't, the invisible pen here. Look at this. And write down, it's December 31st, and write down how the month went. Just write it down.
Yeah.
Like, my month went, fill it in. And maybe to frame it, how did you think, sleep, move, eat, and hydrate? Just the 5 standards. Like, just that's your framework. Or you can add in, how are the relationships? How did I perform? Am I proud of my performance? Just write that down. And just by writing that down, you will already tilt the odds in your favor that you're going to perform differently with more intention.
Yeah.
That's my tip. What would you guys say as a parting, like a tip? Like if you're going to do one thing, do this.
But the same way I started, have a plan. Do what you just talked about. If you don't have a plan, you're planning to fail. So that would be the one piece. It doesn't need to be a big long exercise. You can have that, and then what needs to be true in order for me to hit this, and then break it down as small as you want to go, whether it's weekly or daily.
Yeah.
The only thing I can't really add anything to that because I agree 100%, but make a decision. Make a decision now. So decide. You have the agency, and that would be to create your plan and live it. So
Right. Yeah.
decide.
Yeah. You choose the hero, not the victim.
Yeah.
The victim is going to let the holidays happen to them. The hero makes the holidays happen for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
All
point.
right, guys. Well, hey, have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy your families. We got a lot to be grateful for. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks.
See you guys.
See you guys.